Hello, this is Millie, and this is my critical reflection for week 3. Um, the for me, the summarizing a key idea is for me was the recency of policies that both exclude and include disabled people. This did not happen generations ago. Literally less than 100 years ago, they were killing children to desensitize the German people to killing Jews. Um, this was the science of the time said this was appropriate. Um, this is recent history. I mean, it's ancient history, but it's recent as well. And the policies that include them, such as what was it, the IDEA and the ADA. I think those were passed in like the 70s and 90s. Um, that was definitely in my lifetime. Um, so the idea that this was something that was these rights were fought and won a long time ago, or that they're well established, um, is is kind of a fallacy. I believe that a lot of people have, um, much like people think that slavery, Jim Crow happened so long ago, and it's like, no, we're like generations. It's like there's people alive that didn't get their education, and there's people, just generations away from slavery. So it's not a distant past, and um, it's also not an easy idea to turn around. Many people still think that inclusion is not fair. I tried talking to someone about UDL recently, and they had a negative response, um, which, you know, that I am glad I now have those 22 sayings printed out on how to respond to people, because I can't say what's on my mind. All right. Connection to my future and or current future teaching is my what I remembered is, I feel like I kind of have a leg up because I'm a mother of a child with significant uh, special needs, and so I've been through the school system on the receiving end, and I can say with I had one great school district, but a lot of the time was spent fighting for services. Um, we mentioned in um, that the free and appropriate public education, the legal um, definition, it set the standard for a minimum provided service, not optimal services. And I know, having worked as a paraeducator, that is something that is definitely um, schools stand by. We only give therapy and this and in up to the point where it's the disability is affecting the student's ability to get along in school and do their schoolwork. We won't do anything to help promote their well-being and uh, quality of life. But uh, so that there's fights. I remember I remember being a parent fighting for it felt like everything, and it wasn't like bad dragging out. It was just, it kind of goes along with um, the policies that excluded. People still have this idea that money given to improve the lives of people with disabilities is a waste of money, and it's a waste of resources. They're seen as drains on society, and they'll never be able to take care of themselves. And some things, like the last one, may or may not be true, but that doesn't mean that a person doesn't have worth. Anyway, I have personal feelings about this. I'm going to move on. Oh, great. This one's to my point of contention, my point of tension, which could also be a point of contention. And that is this. I am going to get really personal with this. In disability studies, in cultures of exclusion, on page 54, the author writes that although most modern societies appear to have the knowledge, stability, and resources to enable families and communities to support and care for disabled people, and it goes on to say there is a high degree of despair and strain for caregivers of disabled children and adults. It is blatantly false. She may assume that. It may be, oh, well, there's so much more support. She did not talk to parents about this because there's not. No one I know has a great time raising a disabled child. Most of us, even people who are incredibly well off, still live in near poverty because of the cost of medical bills and things like that. We don't have families. We don't have support groups. This is a real thing. And she continues, and this is kind of morbid, I know, but it's like, so there are cases, it's very infrequent, of parent caregivers killing their child, disabled child, and themselves. And she writes, media coverage like this sends a message that homicide is normal, understandable response to any discomfort one might experience while parenting a disabled child, and we can't pretend that other parents of disabled kids aren't hearing that message. And I find that completely lacking in empathy. And I think my response to that is that that society is missing a message, and they're ignoring the message that there is. I mean, that is a red flag. That is a signal that there is a big problem, because a parent of a child with a disability isn't any different than a parent of a child that doesn't have a label. They love their children. It's just, it does get hard, and there is very little resources. I could get down to brass tacks with numbers and what the state paid me to take care of my son versus what they pay a caregiving company to take care of my son. It's like $700 a month versus $20,000 a month. They do not give support to people at home. And this is a point of tension for me, and I bring it up because this is also the families you will be dealing with. The families of children with disabilities are not really doing well. They want, most of them want what's best for their kid, but most of them don't know how to get it. There is lack of system knowledge that is common. But anyway, this is the author saying that that there is enough resources, and stability is absolutely not the case in any form or fashion, in my experience with over 25 years of working with people with disabilities. So anyway, I've got 8 minutes. I can go on. Anyway, I hope this is not too much.